Good to go. Hello out there in video land. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice coming to you live on a Friday. I usually call the show Finally Friday, but today I'm calling it Meet the Owner because I have the owner of one of my sponsors, Hamill Machine Company. I always call it Hamill Machine Shop because that's what I've known it for. It's been around so long. Bob Benner's in the house.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah, speaking of that, Mike, we don't want to listen. We don't want to miss a word you're going to say, Bob, because this is going to be interesting. So we're going to do a special edition of it. Bob owns Hamill Machine Company. I call it Hamill Machine Shop, and he's going to give us weird scenes inside the machine shop. He's going to tell us all about Hamill Machine Shop. It's been around a long time, and Bob has an interesting story himself of how he got into the machine shop business. Unbelievable. Anyway, before we get into the show, though, I have to talk about my other sponsors. And we thank Bob for being a sponsor, of course. Dave Wheeler, you're over the top about Hamill Machine Shop being a sponsor. Well, this is the gentleman right here, Bob, that you can thank for that. But first, we're looking at the weather out here. It's a nice sunny day, partly cloudy. But, man, the last couple of days have been snowing like crazy, so much so that I didn't even get into the studio yesterday because I spent my time shoveling a little bit. So we know that this is the time of year your car is going to break down. You're going to have troubles. You're going to be standing by the side of the road. So what do? You take your car into Wild Bill's Automotive, Auto and Body Repair Shop, and guess what? They're going to take care of everything for you. They're going to check your systems, throw you on the scanner, make sure your car is running tip-top so you don't get caught in a snowstorm and your car is not unsafe during the winter months. All you have to do is take your car down to Oakwood Drive, right next to the Kia dealership. Ken's going to check it out for you. And if you get in a wreck, don't forget, he's got a full body shop. He'll get your car in and out in showroom condition, and you're going to be happy. Your car's going to be happy. Bob's going to be happy. Everybody's going to be happy when you deal with our sponsors. We please ask you to support our sponsors and also to subscribe to the show. If you're watching this, subscribe. Hit a thumbs up, thumbs down, leave comments. We do it all here, and the more the merrier. And you know me, I'm heavily involved in city council, so I need more people to sign up and get involved because that's what we need in this city. 2026, the election is coming up soon. But we're not getting into politics in this show. We're going to get into Hamill Machine Shop. Bob, thank you for coming in today. I've been wanting to do this for, at least a couple months here. But, with Christmas and everything, it's been tough. Glad to have you in the studio.
Thanks, Paul. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, well, great. You got some great stories to tell. We were talking before the show. Hamill Machine Shop has been around for a long time and has a long history of service to the industry in Niagara Falls. They've been around since 1948. That's a heck of a long time. That's about 100 years, the way I figure it.
Yeah, it's pretty close to it now. Yeah.
Hey, but you know what? Somebody was asking me, where was the first Hamill Machine Shop? And since I was a kid, my dad had a plumbing company in town. So since I was a kid, we used Hamill for some of the things that we had to do. And it was always on Arthur Street at Stanley Avenue.
Yeah, that's correct.
Was there a place before that?
No. Tom Hamill started the shop there, actually. Actually, I've got a picture with all the original employees and everything from that shop, black and white, which is pretty cool from there. But yeah, they even had wooden floors back in that day.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I remember going in there probably in the '60s.
Yeah.
And I knew Tommy Hamill.
Yeah.
But was his father named Tommy Hamill as well?
That I'm not sure of. He was definitely Tom Hamill, and he's got a son, Tom Hamill, as well.
Okay.
So that I'm sure.
Oh, maybe. Geez, maybe the son is the guy that I remember.
Possibly, yeah.
And I might have met, but I knew Tom Hamill. I just didn't know he had a son, Tom Hamill.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, maybe the son is more my age than the father. So
yeah.
But interesting. But I remember them, and we used to go in there every once in a while, and then they kind of disappeared from Arthur Street. And where'd they go to?
Well, he had two employees, John Carcass and Tony Lapoida, and they purchased the company from Tom, and they built the shop over on Kent Avenue in the Falls in the early 80s. So it's been there ever since, which, is going on to 40 some odd years. It's hard to believe. It's been there in that one location that long, but yep, still there. Name's out on the highway. You can see us as you drive by. So
Yeah, and so from there, you bought other places into them?
yeah. So I purchased Hamill Machine 27 years ago now, and never looked back. It's been a great experience for myself, my family, and all my employees, and people in general. But we keep expanding, and we ended up buying Huser's Welding here in the Falls.
Oh, right on Bridge Street.
Yeah, right on Bridge Street. Jerry Huser, same. He had the exact same story as Hamill. His dad started that shop in 1947 on Bridge Street. It's been in the same location ever since.
Oh my goodness!
But they expanded over the years, so it's a 7,000 square foot fabricating shop now. But Jerry wanted to retire, and he's in the Bahamas at the moment, which is a nice place to be.
Yeah,
and he's enjoying his retirement. But I kept all the employees and everything, and we've expanded it numerous times, employee wise, and it's a thriving shop now. We've actually changed the name though from Huser's Welding to Hamill APS, which is Hamill Agricultural Processing Solutions. So we manufacture. We're in the manufacturing field now. We manufacture equipment for the CEA, the Controlled Environmental Agriculture field. So the farmers will grow microgreens, leafy lettuces, things like that in trays, and we developed a harvester to harvest their trays. And they were harvesting by hand worldwide until we came up with this harvester, and it went from 2 to 3 minutes per tray to harvest to 3 seconds.
Holy man!
Yeah, so they're a big hit worldwide. We sell them all over the world, and yeah, we're doing quite well with that. So we've been able to get our workforce up higher. We've got all skilled people, different trades, from welders to machinists to CNC machinists. We've got an electrical engineer on board now that we do all our own electrical panels. So we're really a full service shop over there.
I can never say all that when I'm doing your ad on the show. I mean, I know about the basic machine shop stuff that we're going to talk about, but these specialty industries you're in, and I was looking at the website before you came in.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you do a lot of specialty work.
Yes.
Like specializing in pizza cutting machines and these things that I've really personally never heard of. But you seem to be having a specialty right in that end of the manufacturing.
Yeah. Well, what we did when I bought the shop 27 years ago, I worked for. Well, actually, I was down. No, I worked for Marsh Engineering at the time, and I was a plant manager. And the company was going south, so this shop became available, and I purchased it. And my wife was a teacher, and that was the only reason we could get it, because she had an income. So the banks, weren't too bad at that point. So yeah, so that's where we started, and it started to develop from there. But now in the shop, you're saying about the pizza dough cutters. So Rich Products in Fort Erie is one of our large customers, and they would get these dough cutters from the States, and we just said, hey, we can do that. And next thing you know, they gave us a shot at it, and we've been building them for the last 10 or 15 years. We send them all over the States and Canada and Quebec. So that's just another niche market for us. So what I needed to do when I bought the shop was distinguish ourselves from all the other shops, because there's a lot of machine shops, not as many today as there was 20 some odd years ago, but everybody was in the steel industry for DeFasco, Stelco, GM, all those industries. And I just stayed away from that. I went in the food industry, and it just served us very well. Like, so, our bigger customer, Rich's, Mortimer's down in St. Catharines, Artera, the winery, all these guys are fantastic customers, and they come back year after year after year. And that's what, that's really our basis over there. Another interesting thing we got into over there was barrel racks. So, your your wineries use the barrels and they'll put them on racks so they want to stack them 5 high. Well, there were steel racks. And the interesting thing was the market, they didn't care if they're steel racks back in the day. But the last 20 years, all these vineyards want customers through their cellars. Right? So now all of a sudden the rack's got to look nice. Well, we came up with an aluminum barrel rack that was 27 pounds versus a steel rack, which was 49 pounds. Now, if you can picture people working inside the wineries that have to bend over to pick up a 49-pound rack versus 27 pounds, it's a no-brainer right there. So all I had to do for marketing was sell one rack to a winery. And after that, they never went back to steel. And I knew that. And it's funny because we sold thousands over the years. We actually put in a robot to weld all our side frames because we couldn't possibly keep up or make money, to be honest with you, doing it manually. So we put in a robot 5 years ago. And again, we've never looked back. We ship them out as far as British Columbia, down in the States and Quebec and all over Ontario. So it's been a really good staple of business for us. Well, we'd only make maybe 200 or 300 every season. Now I've got an employee full-time year round and we still don't have any inventory.
So did you build a robot?
No, we don't know, but it was actually built locally by iCubed up the road in Grimsby. They built the robot, and at the same time, we put a water jet in, and iCubed supplied the water jet. So they supplied we did a 2-for-1 deal, basically. So we need a robot for this, so we have the same robot on both machines.
So the water jet cuts.
The water jet's amazing. It'll cut up to 6 or 8 inches thick of steel. Like it's amazing what it does.
Boy, oh boy, that could be a great mystery movie. Somebody cut in half with a water jet.
Oh, it would cut you in half pretty quick. But we've done. We did a lot of stuff. We fooled around with. We made fire pits for people. So we did custom fire pits. You know, they're about 36 inches round, about 24, 30 inches high. But we could engrave right in the steel. So if you wanted your name in there, your cottage, pictures of a moose, and then it was a big fire pit. So they went over quite well too. They were a big money maker, but you know what? It was just neat stuff to try and do.
Yeah, but you always see because you do laser cutting too, right?
Well, not anymore. The water jet replaced the laser.
Oh, okay.
I just need a new sign. So,
now let me ask you a question. I always see online the things where they have your address, and then it says your street under it, all nicely. And it looks like a laser thing to me that they cut it out. Water jets could do something like that. Do you do stuff like that? Custom stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. We do it all the time. Yeah. Water jet will do the same thing as the laser. But for thinner materials, the laser is much more efficient. Like we get laser cutting done almost on a weekly basis from local shops. We've got our own water jet. We can't afford to do it ourselves. It's just because it uses an aggregate and everything. It's just a different, it'll do the same thing. So if I order all these parts from my supplier, it works out great. But if I forget a piece, I just call over to the machine shops. Hey, make this. And away we go the same day.
It's interesting. A machine shop using and interacting with other machine shops to do specialty jobs that you have kind of got out of a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That's synergy right there.
Yeah, it is.
That's fantastic. And I know probably the water jet is a little bit harsher. Would I use the word harsher?
Yeah.
On cutting because it is a stream of water at high pressure.
That's right. Yeah.
So maybe your thinner metals it would bend rather than cut, or it's pretty good on it.
We've actually cut cardboard gasket material with it.
Well, how about that?
So it'll do it, but
that's amazing.
The only difference for us is the machinery we build over at Hamill APS. It has to be all deburred. It has to look nice and everything. So, it's like we're selling a car, to be honest. And so with the laser, there's no burred edge on it. It comes to us. We just give it a quick wipe and we install it. Where with the water jet, we have to take a grinder, just grind a little edge off. It's not big, but it's enough that it takes us hours to do.
Yeah, just clean it up a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So we got to get the laser out of there. No more laser. It's all water jet.
Yeah, it's all water jet now. Yeah.
That makes sense.
But all the equipment that we have basically is we're a jobbing shop. So we do 1-offs, 5-up, 10-offs. Even though we have CNC equipment, we still don't do multiples. Like, CNC equipment, computer controlled. You've got CNC shops around, but they'll do 10,000 parts.
Mm-hmm.
You're just putting it in, taking it out, putting it in, taking it out. But our machinists actually program it right at the machine. So they're highly skilled compared to just taking the part in and putting it out. But there's still a big call for that. And there's still a big call for our other machines that are still standard machinery, where we have to have a real, quality machinist operating the old lathes and mills and stuff like that.
You're hitting tolerances and
hitting tolerances. Yes,
yeah. Because a lot of places that when they build this stuff, they want it exact. It can't be like a little bit off, even the 10th or whatever, the 1,000th.
Yeah,
it's got to be right on or it don't work. The auto industry is the best for that, right?
Yep. No, 100%. We have to be accurate on everything, and so you've got a lot of factors. You got to be accurate. Your price has to be right, and you have to be delivered on time. Right? If you can hit all those three things, then you're always busy.
I think that's called customer service.
It is definitely customer. And it's funny you say that, because for Hamill APS, we get our customers, like I say, they're all over the world, sending us emails saying they've never had better customer service. That we respond as soon as they email or they call, because they're growing products that if they can't cut their greens in 3 days, they have to throw it all out. So we have to ship whatever they broke or whatever they need. We have to ship it out the same day so they get it the next morning.
I never thought of that. In produce, that's the way it works. You've got a certain amount of time, and then guess what? It isn't any good.
It just keeps growing, and it's no good. Yeah.
Yeah. So amazing that you've invented all these little things to deal with these different projects, and that shows your versatility.
Yeah.
And your ability, to come up with these cutters and these specialty products that people need. That you said, hey, we can make those.
Yeah.
And then you went about and made it. And even the water jets, I would imagine, or when you're cutting out something, somebody has to program them to do that. So you've got to have programmers, guys who know how to write the script, if you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got mechanical engineers.
Unbelievable.
At one point we're up to 6 mechanical engineers. We're down to 3 or 4 now. But that's only because the equipment we developed, we finally perfected it. So we don't need quite as many engineers. We're no different in the car industry. We just get it perfected, and then we find we could do this a little better. Well, then the engineers got to change it again. So I always need engineers to keep tweaking stuff so we stay on top of our game all the time.
You're talking about computer engineers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if I had a part that I wanted made, because you do 3D printing too.
Yes.
If I wanted made, and I said, can you make this part for me? Then your engineers would go to work. They'd write the program to do it, and then they'd run it on the printer, the water jet, and away you go. You got your product, right?
Yeah. Oh, the 3D printing is amazing, because
it's crazy.
When we first started building the harvesters, we used that still cutting head. Your hedge trimmer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what we started with. And, but they kept changing their head. And every time they did that, I had to change my designs. I can't do this. So we had our 3D printers. So we designed our own cutting head, and we use an onyx material, which is very hard, but it's expensive, but we're still making our heads for under $100 a piece. And the printer is so good, we don't have to machine anything. And they hold bearings and everything else with tight tolerances, and they come out perfect every time, just from the 3D printer. So we were able to really revolutionize our heads doing that.
So we're going to talk more about Hamill Machine Shop and Hamill Machine Company, I should say, because it's not just a little shop we're talking about here. You can see that from what Bob's told us already. And Bob has an interesting story about how he got into this business, because that's my first question a lot of times, although today it wasn't. There's so much interesting stuff here. But I want to know, how the heck did you get into this? But we're going to talk about that after I get to my second sponsor.
Right.
My third sponsor is Hamill Machine Company, but we have the expert right here, so I don't have to do an ad for Hamill today. This is it, right? So, but my second sponsor is Victoria Avenue Pizza, and I don't know if you like pizza, Bob, or not, but I'm kind of a pizza snob. There's only certain pizzas I'll eat, and even when Mike from Victoria Avenue Pizza wanted to advertise on the show, sponsor the show, I said, "Well, Mike, I gotta like your pizza, because if I don't like your pizza, my heart just isn't going to be in it." So I sent Liz down there, my wife. I sent her down to get a pizza, but don't tell them who it is. And it was fantastic. So now I'm a big fan of it, and he also sponsors the show, Victoria Avenue Pizza. But they make a fantastic pizza. The Mancini family has been making sauce and crust for pizza for 40 years. They opened Pete's Pizza in St. Catharines. And Mike has the franchise here, and he uses their family recipe. He also takes Saputo mozzarella, he takes brick cheese, mixes it all up, and he puts it on the pizza in the right ratio with the sauce, because there's nothing worse than a pizza that don't have the right cheese to sauce mix. He does it perfect, cooks it perfect, uses cornmeal on the bottom, which is my favorite, and he puts it all together and cooks it just perfect. But he's not a one-trick wonder over there. They have phenomenal wings. They have phenomenal poutine, steak and cheese poutine, steak subs. They have a menu this big, and they have all kinds of things. You're going to find something you like on there for sure. If pizza and wings don't suit your fancy, but they do mine. Also, they've extended their hours. They're open till 2 a.m, Friday and Saturday, until 11 o'clock during the week. So there's no reason you can't get in there and grab a nice pizza whenever you have the urge to have pizza. And that's, for me, that's all the time. As a matter of fact, it's a sedative for me. When I watch a city council meeting, I have pizza after to calm me down.
I can imagine.
So anyway, get the pizza on Victoria Avenue. Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. Tell him that. Tell him that, and enjoy yourself a great pizza. 905-374-2222, or you can go to pizzavictoria.ca to see their menu, to order, or they use Skip and all the other places that you can imagine that deliver this kind of stuff. Anyway, Pizza Victoria Avenue. Don't miss out on it. Grab yourself a nice pizza and tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. And support our sponsors like Hamill Machine Shop, because they support the city and they support the show. Okay, so let's move on. Here's a young lad, Bob Benner, 7 or 8 years old, wondering, going to school, and he says, I got to do something here. What am I going to do with my life? And he ends up owning this fantastic business in Niagara Falls. How did you get into this, Bob?
Well, my dad was in shipping, and I grew up in Port Colborne, and swam the canal my whole life, and was watching ships go by all the time. But anyways, I was lucky enough to be able to go with my dad when he had to deliver stuff to the ships, and I just liked the environment, I guess. And when I was 18, I tried to get into college for marine engineering, and I didn't get accepted because I didn't have chemistry or something. You know, when you're in high school, you don't think of all the things you really need. And lo and behold, I ended up down on St. Paul Street in St. Catharines, and there was a recruiting station there for the military. So I thought, well, we might as well walk in here and see what they have to offer. And sure enough, I said I want to be
machinist?
No, a marine engineer.
Oh, in the Navy.
I'm sorry, yeah, in the Navy. And they almost didn't let me leave the building. Like, I didn't realize how bad they wanted marine engineering. So, anyways, I signed up on the spot basically, and by June I was gone to Cornwallis for basic training. All my teachers wanted to get rid of me, so they all passed me, so I didn't have to write exams, and off I went. And anyways, I just loved it. But you're not going to believe this part is, so I was on a destroyer for 8 years, different ones, but I got seasick for 8 years. I threw up every single time I left port, every time, right, for years and years. And I never got over it, but I just liked it so much that, you know, you put up with it, and it was great. So I was able to and again, because I liked it so much, I think um, I was advanced promoted. By the time I left in 8 years, I was a petty officer second class. I had my boiler room tickets, and I was well on my way for a really good career. But there was just too much sea time. I had a young family, and it was just time to do something different. So I left the Navy, came back to Port Colborne, got a job at a company called Marsh Engineering, and I was a steam turbine mechanic. And that was right up my alley because I worked on ships almost year round again. So I was just in heaven working there. And so I was there for numerous years. And then Port Weller Dry Docks got a hold of me, and they wanted me to go down there as a supervisor because they were bringing Navy ships in to overhaul. So I ended up in charge of overhauling one of the Navy ships down in the engine room and boiler room. And as a matter of fact, we went out on sea trials, and my boss said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going on holidays. You're in charge of sea trials, right?" So that was pretty nerve-wracking and pretty exciting for me. But anyways, it all went well.
Did you throw up every day when you went out to sea
I was
trials?
on the lake. It wasn't too bad on the lake, right? But so then Marsh Engineering actually called me back and offered me a job as a plant manager and in charge of all these millwrights, which was kind of weird. But I did that for a few years before I purchased Hamill Machine. So I was always in the industrial side, because even at Marsh, a lot of times we worked at Atlas Steels, Welland Forge, all these other heavy industry, in the Niagara region that used to be here. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. The battleships and the ships you worked on, destroyers or whatever, were they steam driven?
Yeah, yes.
And what years were those?
They were built in the 50s, and I went in 1977. So they were almost old when I started on them.
They were still steam driven.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't actually when I left.
That's amazing.
Yeah, when I left, they were just starting to scrap them, and I really didn't want to go on the new ones, which were gas turbines. No more steam, because I just loved the steam, because everything was manual. You had to react to everything. It's just like you're sitting here on your board here and you're touching knobs and doing this. It's the same thing for me, but I'm turning valves all the time, and it was just exciting. So.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, today we're in, 2025 here, and we're talking about nuclear powered ships. And when you go back to steam, you think, well, that's like the Titanic, 1912,
Yeah.
Steam diesel turbines and steam turbines and everything else, coal fired, and that kind of thing. I mean, imagine these were diesel fired.
Diesel fuel, yeah.
Diesel fired, right?
Diesel fuel, yeah.
But you think, holy, in the 70s, Canada was running like steam ships. And because that's all there was back in the day.
Yeah, that was
coal. Yeah. And even the Maid of the Mist and all the ships down in the river, they're all steamships.
Yeah.
And all the line. But you think getting into the 50s and 60s, jets and everything, you think steamships, but they were there.
Yeah. And that actually, you just brought up another thing, the Maid of the Mist. Hamill serviced the Maid of the Mist for 20 years. We did all their 5-year inspections. We took their propellers off.
Oh, wow.
We did everything for the Coast Guard to come in and inspect. Anything that was out of spec, we had to repair it and put them back in. And my proudest moment down there was they never lost 1 minute of sailing time. The whole time we were there, because we only had the winter to work on things, and it had to be done and on their sailing dates. And we delivered every single time to them down there.
That's amazing, because you had to do it on site too. You can't bring the boats to your shop.
Oh yeah.
So everything
that we even built. Now this was really bizarre too. Was we even built their American loading dock? Okay, it was brand new.
Oh, okay.
And we built that at Hamill outside. We had to cut it in half to get it down the 420. Then we had to go straight down the escarpment down below. We had to get a huge crane in there, weld it all together, and then finish welding it. By the time we were done, we had to have a 500-ton crane in there to lower it in the water, right? And we built all this, and we never built barges. We never built anything like that, but we took the challenge on, and it worked out extremely well.
Oh, that's the barge you have on your website.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, because I thought, what barge? Yeah. And, if you don't know the area around Niagara Falls, like if you're listening from outside of the area, the Maid of the Mist, when they left Niagara Falls, Canada, they went to Niagara Falls, New York, just across the river. and they set up shop down at the bottom of the old Shilkoff power plant.
That's correct. Yeah.
And there was a big cement pad already down there, or maybe they poured it, but I think there's part of that left. And they built their docks right there.
Yeah.
So that's where you lowered all that into the river there?
No, we lowered it still on the Canadian side.
Okay,
but then when they lost the contract, they hired us to modify all the ships, because they would pull the boats out of the water using a winch. So they just put a big cable onto the front of the boat, and they came up railways. And then they would take that railway and move it over for the next one. Well, they couldn't do that in the American side. So they bought a crane from Germany, flew it over like in 2 months, which was just amazing. And we had to weld big lugs all inside the boats to lift the boat out of the water.
Oh, okay? Right.
Trust me, I'm standing on this side of the border watching them lift it up for the first time, and our welders welded everything. And I'm thinking, please don't break. Please don't break. Right? So we had to modify all their ships. And then we actually had the contract to scrap all their ships, which, was kind of neat. But I've got 2 of the propellers, number 4 in my office. And then I kept the bow from number 4 and number 5. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, but the reason I kept number 4 was that was the famous one where Princess Di was waving off with her children.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's kind of cool too, right? So I kept that for that reason. But I sold the wheelhouses and the engines and everything. So I tried not to scrap everything into the garbage. You know what I mean? So the wheelhouses, there's one wheelhouse down in Port Dover, right on one of the little rivers there. One of the guys, made it into a neat little hut. So that was probably the best experience of my life was down there. I don't know if anybody remembers, but it would have been in I don't know, it's got to be 30 years now, but the ice backed up down there.
Yes.
So the ice backed up, it lifted all the boats off their cradles. They were 15 feet in the air. Now it was April or March, but it was getting warm, and the boats, when the ice let go, all the ice under the boat stayed. So now you got these boats that are teetering, and they could have fell over if the ice kept melting. So yeah. I was at Marsh time, and I was the plant manager, and we had to go down, and we had to figure out what to do with these boats. So we did the same thing. We welded lugs on them, we lifted them in the air, and then we had to shovel all the ice out and put them back down. We had to bring a 500-ton crane down there, 8 transports to bring that crane down, because it was that large that you couldn't bring it down in one piece. They had to assemble it with an 80-ton crane. So you can imagine all this going on while they're getting rid of all this ice. It was just amazing time. And it was the same thing. They never missed a minute of sailing time. But that was a very neat experience.
Yeah. The Bay of the Mist are, they're history, like iconic. History. Now they're over the States, and we have Hornblower.
The owners were the best. They were just classy people.
The
Glyns. That's right. Yeah. Wouldn't say a bad thing about them.
Yeah, Hornblower took over in Niagara Falls, Canada, but they still run on the American side. But I would imagine the reason you have all the old boat stuff is because they all went to EVs. They went to electric.
Yeah, they bought all their boats, but they had them built locally. They were built down in Port Dover, down in that area, Port Stanley maybe. So right. So they were built in Canada and stuff, but there's no work for us because everything's brand new. Every 5 years they'll bring the propellers to us so we can get the Coast Guard to inspect them. But other than that, there's not a lot of work at this time, anyways.
That's an interesting story. How you came into this business through the Navy, of course. Thank you for your service, by the way. We appreciate it. And then of course you would be the natural guy to take a look at a lot of different things to do with marine.
Yeah.
Marine technology and marine fixing and everything else.
Yeah. No, it's just I've done very well with the marine industry over the years. I've met a lot of nice people, a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah, I guess. Holy jeez. How'd you fit it all into like 38 years?
No, I know. There's times I wonder, honestly.
Yeah, 38 years old. How'd you fit this all in? That's you're a young guy. I have a friend, maybe the only one. I don't know. I think I have more than one. But his name is Dave Wheeler. And Wheel's father had a small machine shop in town, and I was telling you, like, he was over the top when you sponsored the show because he goes, these little machine shops in town that service industry are so important, and they're one of the reasons the industry comes here because I want to know, do you have the resources to help me if I need it? And these small machine shops are the basis of it.
Yeah.
So he was over the top when he heard about that, and he has some questions for you.
Okay, just one thing quickly. Do you know Dr. Lococo? He was a dentist.
Mike, yeah.
Okay, we help him all the time because he's always designing new tools for dentistry. So we're making all this tiny stuff for him, and we also do for another doctor. He replaces knees, and they're titanium. Well, he'll bring it in and say, "Can you guys machine a little off of here, a little off of there to make it fit on the person?" So,
which doctor's that?
I don't know which one it was, to be honest with you, but it's just. It's cool stuff. Right?
Yeah, that's wild.
And it's not about making money at that point. It's just cool stuff that everybody enjoys having their hand in it. Nice. Saying, hey, I got a part in this, I had a part in that. Right?
Well, you found out who got the knee, and then when you see it, you go, hey, that's my knee over there.
Yeah.
How's your knee, buddy? Need it a little bit shaved on the side here? We can do it for you. But yeah, it's interesting that the services that you provide outside of what people think a machine shop does.
Yes.
You know, whether it's industrial or in your case, you do a lot more than probably a lot of machine shops.
Yeah.
The smaller ones anyway, for sure. You guys you're out there. So he says, Dave Wheeler, please ask Bob from Hamill about the industry / manufacturing that Hamill does work for. So he wants to know about the different industries that you work for. Now, we talked about a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I noticed this winery thing, though. That seems to be a big thing. And the specialty fabrication of different tools that they need to carry on with, like the pizza cutters and dough cutters and that. So I think you probably went through a little bit of that. Is there anything else that you're really tuned in on outside of that?
Yeah. Actually, for anybody, have you been to Two Sisters Winery?
No.
Okay.
I haven't.
For anybody who's been to Two Sisters Winery, their barrel room, we designed it and built it for them. It's the most amazing barrel room you're ever going to see. Actually, I got married in it 4 years ago, inside the cellar, and it's worth going to just to see the barrel room. Right?
I saw amazing. A picture of it. On your website.
Yeah, and it's just amazing. And we designed it all and built it all. Actually, Kevin did that, and we built one for John Howard. He's got Megalomaniac Winery, and with John Howard,
the winery,
he's a pretty cool guy too. And he had this wine cellar in his house that you went through a bookcase to get to. Oh, it was just
like right over James Bond. You press the button, the bookcase opens.
So we went in and we had to install a mini one for him, and he had wine in there from the 1500s.
Oh my goodness!
We're walking around scared to touch anything without knocking it on the ground and breaking a bottle, right?
Yeah, that'll be $100,000, please.
Yeah, but that was a neat project as well. So, but as far as the industry goes, like Can-Eng furnaces here in Niagara Falls. It's funny, like Tony at the time and John, that was 90% of their business back then. 27 years ago. Yeah, and then when I took over. Our sales didn't drop from them, but our other customers picked up. So instead of being 90%, they were down to maybe 60%. And it was a good thing we did that because in 2008, one of the crashes, anyways, when they weren't selling cars, Can-Eng builds furnaces for cars, and they didn't have one sale that year, and it didn't hurt our business at all. So we diversified enough that we were able to carry on. But Can-Eng today is stronger than ever. I think they just had a record year, actually. And so they're just booming right along. And we still do a lot of their work. And, we're proud to do their work because they're known worldwide. And they build quality stuff, right? So.
Yeah, that's another business I don't remember Niagara Falls being without. It's been around here for I don't know how many years.
And Washington Mills, we do all their work. And we've done that for, same thing, 20 some odd years. SciTech, which has changed from Cyanamid to SciTech to whatever it is now. I can't even keep up. But we do all their work as well. So we've got a lot of good customers been around that are staying around, right? But it can change overnight because when Chef Boyardee was here, we did all their work, and they were gone overnight.
Yeah, they're gone.
Who would have thought Made in the Mist was going anywhere?
Nobody.
No, right? So we really had to pivot and say, okay, how are we going to fill that gap? You know.
So did you get any work for Hornblower at all, or
just a little bit? Well, the one funny one was though, when they first got the contract, there was a lot of animosity there. Okay, Made in the Mist would not talk to Hornblower and vice versa. So we had to really watch what we said. And everything.
You were walking the tightrope.
We were walking the tightrope, and we just built a big aluminum walkway that you had to walk across to get to the boats, and we had to take it out and scrap it. We had to cut it in half. Okay, Hornblower called us when they took over. Said, "Can you build us a bridge that goes across here?" I said, "Yeah, we can build that because we just built it and scrapped it." So I had to build them the exact same thing over again, right? So
yeah, too bad you couldn't get it out and weld it back together.
I know.
That'll be a couple $100,000, please. And here's the same one we used 2 weeks ago. We took out.
Yeah. So we do get a little bit, but there's still enough industry around, but we need more. We just need more. And you know what? If this segment does nothing else, it tells people Niagara Falls is not just a tourist town. You need us as much as we need the tourists, because we do work for all the hotels. Because think about it. They've got big industrial dryers, big industrial folders. So when their bearings go on that and their shafts, where do they go? They come to us. Can you get this fixed right away so we can start folding sheets again? Right? So again, it's not a lot of work, but it's work that we need all the time. It might be maybe 3 or 4% of our sales, but it doesn't matter. It's 3 or 4%. Right, which keeps you going, right? So we've always had a good work. And Clifton Hill, we do all kinds of work for Clifton Hill. You don't realize how many machine parts are in these rides, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I never even thought of that.
No, and most people don't. And and so we're in the shadows for stuff like that, but we're there, and we need to be there. Otherwise, they'd have a hard time keep their rides going.
Well, they wouldn't. They'd have to ship parts out to Toronto or somewhere, and so the local machine shop is what keeps them all going. And, and you're right. You don't think about it, but every one of those rides has big bearings, and big wheels, and sprockets, and everything else. Gears.
The other interesting one too is the Skyline Tower. We rebuilt all their doors on their outdoor elevators because those elevators are built in the 40s or 50s. There's no drawings. And so they hired the contractors to rebuild these. So they came to us to redesign all their old stuff, like not redesign it, but replicate it so it would go back into service. So that was another good one. We got to do all their elevators. I love doing stuff that's iconic in the area, that you can, something to tell the grandkids, right?
Yeah, who would think you look at the elevators on the Skyline Tower, and Hamill was the reason the doors are on those things.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, actually, I had to go up in this Skylon through the floor where people are reading and had to look at the chain that drives it around, that goes around.
Oh, the actual top, the dining room.
Yeah, so it's just a great big picture bicycle chain, only huge, driving this thing around, right? So that was. Oh, another interesting one. This is another interesting one with one of the hotels here, their water park, and their wave pools where they've got a big blower. They open a valve and it just a shot of air goes, and that's what makes the wave.
It pushes the water.
Yeah. Well, they blew it up, like exploded.
Oh, geez.
And they had to call California where they bought everything, and they told them it was like 6 months to get one. We took that scrap, and it was scrap pieces, and we were able to replicate it. In 4 days, we had them up and running. 4 days.
That's amazing.
Right? So, I mean, was it more money? I probably wasn't even more money, actually. Because a manufacturer that I had to, they're charging a lot of money for their spare stuff, right? So, but again, you know what? It was just one of those things saying, hey,
and
we got them out of a jam.
In American dollars.
Yeah.
So there's another bonus to dealing with a local guy. There's no exchange on his work.
Yeah.
Right? Their work, Hamill's work. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing about it, that there's a place like that to turn to. There's a place like that to turn to. So, yeah, they're invaluable. Without a shop like this in town, what are these guys going to do? And you don't think about the number of, you always think of a machine shop for industrial, but the tourist sector and even the cities.
Yeah, we do
like city of Niagara
for the
Falls.
cities. Yeah, we do a lot of work in Niagara Falls. Even actually, we did work down here on Queen Street, which the city of St. Catharines noticed, and they called us to do the work for them down there.
For the lights?
Yeah.
So what did you do for the lights here?
All we did, it wasn't that difficult, but we had to design brackets that would go onto the light poles that would hold the lights across the street. But they had to be a certain height. They had a lot of things because of the fire trucks.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
right? A lot of people don't think of that. Well, why has it got to be this way? Well, it's not the car, the truck. It's a fire truck. They got to be able to get down these streets, right? So, so we did that, and we built some gates for them that they asked. And, just really cool stuff that way.
Now, when somebody comes in, like I know because you do smaller stuff as well, like say somebody wants a set of gates for their backyard.
Yeah.
You would do that for them. You'd weld them all up, design them for them, weld them all up. Now, do you powder coat too?
No.
I wanted to ask you that.
No, we send ours over to, can't remember his name. I apologize. I can't remember his name. But
is he in Niagara Falls?
Yeah, Niagara Falls.
Okay.
Yeah. But we've used them for years when we needed powder coating. And they're right here in the falls. And because painting anymore, you got to have a special booth. You've got to have, the environment is pretty critical. So you got to be careful and stuff like that.
Yeah, most of the stuff like that you would have for outdoors, powder coating.
Yeah, powder coating. Yeah,
that's the best way to go.
Just one other quick one too is we designed with our microgreen stuff. We designed and built a whole system in Abu Dhabi. So we built it over here at Huser's, and we had to take it apart, put it in 2 shipping containers, shipped it over there, and then I had to send a crew of guys over there for 2 weeks to install
it together.
And the interesting part was our electrical engineer built all the electrical panels. He sat here in the falls and did all the programming live while they were over there. So he didn't even have to go over there. Like, just amazing
technology.
Stuff. Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, that takes a lot of money off the job for whoever's buying it too, because I mean, geez, you have to send a guy over there, plus this and that. You can sit right here in town and talk to him and do it.
Yeah, it's just amazing stuff, right?
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people, they do Facebook and stuff like that on the internet, but they don't realize the technology and how it takes something that used to have to be here, where you would have to be there, and it puts you here or you there without having to go there.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
The other thing too is, we had a customer had the same 3D printers as us. So they broke apart. We just sent them the file. They made their own part and they were up and running the same day. Right? So
just amazing.
Yeah, because I didn't mind sharing that information.
No.
He's coming back to you for more if he's super happy with that kind of thing. Right?
Oh, sure. And Dave has another question, and I know you're going to like to answer this one for sure. In your view, because you're on top of the industry, what's going on? Is the future of manufacturing industry in the region? What is the future of manufacturing industry in the region? Do you think there's going to be more coming in? A lot more coming in? Are they doing enough to bring it in?
I think the city's doing enough. I mean, we looked at purchasing some property to expand, and the city bought out on Sodom Road a big parcel of land out there.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, it said it's about 5 years before they were able to start developing it. So they are thinking ahead for more industry. What the tariffs and all this stuff's going to do is pretty scary stuff. I don't know what's going to happen there. We were actually looking at purchasing another shop in Fort Erie, and I read an article where the tariffs is going to kill that industry. And I'm thinking, wow. What if we just buy it and all of a sudden the tariffs just take all that work out of the area? Like, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. What's going to happen? But If I go to Cambridge a lot and Guelph and all those places. Some of our suppliers are up there. The industry up there blows your mind compared to here. I mean, they got one building that takes up half of Niagara Falls, right? But we've got a lot of smaller ones that keeps everybody employed and keeps everybody busy as well. So I think the area in general is going to do quite well. I think we'll always do quite well. Honestly, I've been through 4 or 5 turnarounds with recessions. It never bothered me in the least. We just kept looking at for new customers, stuff like that, right? So, and I think most people do that. Most companies, they think ahead, and even Can-Inch, when they weren't building furnaces, I mean, they had a whole year. They had to keep all those people employed because you can't lose that expertise, or you're in a lot of trouble when it gets busy again. That's the other side of the coin, right? All our people are tradespeople. If I lose them, I got to start over again. And if it gets busy, you're not going to deliver in time. So it's really a kind of a neat situation to be in to be able to do that. But
do you ever think of building a place in Niagara Falls, New York, just going over the border to evade the tariffs? If that's
yeah, we actually opened a company over there. Never used it, but we thought we were going to expand, but I actually closed it because I'm just paying fees for nothing.
Yeah.
And really, I've just got no appetite to be over there, to be honest with you. I just don't. I like it here. I like staying here, and I've got no desire to really go over there, even though a lot of our customers are there. But believe it or not, they all like working with Canadians.
Yeah, well, I don't blame them.
It's just they like it, and we like it. So
yeah, that's good. That's good. And we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of talk going on, but it may just not even come to fruition.
Yeah, no,
who knows? We don't know, right?
It is. I've got a project. It's $100,000 sitting on my floor that won't be ready to ship for another couple of weeks. It's going to Arizona, and he could get hit with $20,000 in tariffs.
Yeah,
I'm not paying it. We don't have to pay it, right? It's not us putting the tariffs on. It's
that's right.
They're putting tariffs on. So, I feel bad, but nothing we can do about it.
For them, it would just be the price of doing business, and they get a 40% discount or 45% because of the dollar. So really, exactly. At the end of the day, it's 25%.
It might not bother them near as much as it bothers me.
Yeah.
They're probably thinking, well, so what? Just get it over here.
They're going like this. Geez, we're getting 45% on our dollar, and they want to charge us 20% or 25%. We're still up 25%. Hey. If the dollar drops, it could be a problem.
I probably overthink this stuff, but you have to think about it.
Well, you got to.
You just got to,
Because on the other end of it, if the guys think of the same way, they're going, well, we might as well get from an American manufacturer.
Yeah.
Even though they got a big advantage with the Canadian dollar.
And you know what? For us, nobody else manufactures this equipment. So right now we've got no competition, but that doesn't mean somebody's going to say, well, hey, if we can't get it from Canada, we're going to have to build our own. So I don't want that either.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Well, when I look at that piece of property on Sodom Road, like I'm not too thrilled about a lot of expenditures from the city of Niagara Falls, but that one there, I was very, very happy about because without industrial land, you cannot attract industry.
And you know what? It's got to be near the highway.
Got to be near the highway.
I would never go to the industrial park.
No,
I just would not go there. Right, I love being on the Queen E. Even Bridge Street, it's just a hop and a step away from the Queen E.
406.
So I don't want to go in the inner parts of the city, right? So
yeah, and I don't blame you. And we have such a great city for industry, really, because you have the QEW going north and south.
Yeah,
you have international airports really quick.
Yeah,
and we have the Welland Canal, which can ship anything basically. Really close by. So it's really a great area, but you got to be on the highway. That piece of property, I know a lot of people were crying about it, but I was full behind, and I said, that was probably one of the best things I've seen a lot of these guys do in a little while.
Yeah.
That piece of property.
And you know what? What I like too is they didn't just jump into it. They bought it. They're sitting on it probably until they can afford to do something, but they've got it. So they're able to, as they get money, I guess, put money for infrastructure, they'll do it.
Yeah, well, they had a whole bunch of money from the Niagara Regional Broadband. They sold.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
So they were waiting to spend it.
Yes.
In the region, Dave keeps on going. He says, "What do you think the region, the city, can do to support industries like yourself and attract more?" And the piece of property is one way for sure.
Yeah. Now, the only thing for me personally is we're always trying to grow, and we cannot get government support.
Yeah, that's a problem.
We're not big enough, or we're not new enough. There's always a reason that we can't get support. And here we're in an industry that we don't even have competition because the industry's so new and it's worldwide. And so that bothers me a bit because I don't know where to turn.
Are you talking provincial, city,
both,
regional,
all of it,
all levels?
I don't know where. And like we got Wayne Gates. I love Wayne, love the guy, and but I don't know if I could turn to Wayne. I don't know who I could turn to say, hey, I don't know what I'm asking for, but I know I'm asking, and I can't put my finger on it, but I need people to point us in the right direction. Say, well, you know what? Here's some group of investors looking for a company like yours that might be interested in saying, hey, we want to park some money there because we want to get into that industry, right? So that's my only thing. The rest of it, you got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Well, just a little bit of help from government would help. And I think there's a lot of people who are saying the same thing as you do.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah.
You know. And he said, how can a young person prepare themselves for a future in your trade?
Okay. This is a big thing for us. We actually won the apprenticeship award for all of Ontario, probably 10 years ago now, and which I was thrilled to get, but I was disgusted to get because we're a small machine shop. Why wasn't the bigger guys in there? Why wasn't GM in there? Why wasn't all these big companies? Because they weren't hiring apprentices. We hired more apprentices than GM ever did. Like, that's a sad state of affairs, if you ask me.
That is.
Right?
Holy man.
And we continue that. We probably put over 100 apprentices through because, some stay, some don't, which is good. I like turnaround. But I've got people that started as apprentices that are now machine shop owners. They're supervisors. They're into a lot of different things, right? So we're always looking for people. So experience doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is your work ethic, and if you got a basic, you know how to turn a wrench of some sort. You
laugh at that, but there are people who can't.
Oh no, I know. But so we're looking to hire apprentices. Right now, actually, machinists and millwrights and welders.
Oh, there you go.
So if anybody's got a resume, we accept all resumes, and we are actively looking right now. So anybody that wants to get in the trade can get in the trade. If you don't have a job, you can go to Niagara College, and they've got a pre-apprenticeship program. We hire from that all the time because all that does is give you basic things. They'll let you use a lathe, a bit of welding, it makes you dangerous, right?
Yeah.
You're not good at anything yet, but it doesn't matter. You've been exposed to it. So when you do get in a shop like ours, you're not fumbling around. You say, hand me that torch. You know what a torch is.
Yeah, they're not handing you a 5/16 wrench.
Yeah. So any trade, you know what? It doesn't have to be machining, welding. There's so many trades that need people. There's plumbing. There's carpentry. You gotta want it. You gotta want it.
Well, that leads me to a question about your opinion on colleges and universities. Do you think there should be more emphasis on trades? I mean, I've said this for a long time. There has to be.
You know what? I was with Niagara Industrial Association for many years, and I was on the education council with a lady named Jane and Jane Bunk, and we tried to get things changed. You know what? It wasn't the college's problems. It was parents. Parents did not want their kids in the trades. And it took years. They're finally coming around now, but it took years to get that message that, hey, your child can make $100,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He doesn't have to go to university. College or whatever. You don't even need college. You can get into a place like ours. You start at a lower level, right? You're starting at maybe $20 an hour. But guess what? When you go to college, you're only paying $400 a year, right? And you're working full time. like, what a gift.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So there's many ways, but you just young people, nobody's going to hand it to you. You've got to want it. You've got to be not really aggressive, but but you've got to, if you put a resume in, you got to follow up. You don't walk in with a Tim Hortons in your hand, and not one for me. I even had one young guy asked me for a cigarette. I don't even smoke. I think it was
a cigarette.
You're not
on an interview.
Yeah, you're not on the list anymore.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So,
but by the way, you got to
honestly, it's work ethic. Work ethic. I can't stress that enough. And we're big with the colleges. We donate a lot to the colleges. We give a lot of scholarships, and we work with the colleges. Niagara College has been amazing. They've always supplied our engineers, our machinists, our welders, everything. And I've got not one bad thing to say over 27 years of using Niagara College. So they're a good institution, and the others are good too. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure Sheridan and all these other and Mohawk, but I tell my young people when I hire them, don't rush here. You got 40 years or 50 years to do this. You know what I mean? Just slow down, relax, find out if you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, just tell me. Say, hey, listen, this isn't for me. And I'll say, hey, awesome. Thank you for working here. I'd rather somebody does that than just puts in time. It's just the way it is. It was like me with the Navy. I just loved it so much. I didn't care if I was seasick. A lot of people wouldn't have done that.
Well, I think a lot of these kids too, they for some reason want to do something with the computer. They want to sit at a desk all day. I mean, when you get into a machine shop, or like if you're an electrician or a plumber, there's a lot of hard work involved.
Yeah.
Like you don't sit in your butt and play games all day. I mean, you're out there working in this kind of weather. Whatever weather.
Just before I came here, there's a new industry in Welland. They're recycling electronic parts. We've got to overhaul a mill of theirs. It weighs 60 tons. We just unloaded it in our shop just before I came over here. So I'm out in the shop in my work clothes, watching my watch there. Okay, we got to get this off the truck because I need to be here just until it's safe. Everything's safe, right? And but you know what? That's neat stuff we do.
Yeah. So if you want to trade, you're going to make good money, and the trades aren't like they used to be. Neither they're a lot cleaner than they used to be. The technology has made it a little bit better. I remember working for my dad in the 60s. We used to have to thread 3/4 inch black iron pipe for gas lines by hand. I'd be turning a die.
I know hand, exactly. Yes,
jumping on it for the last 2 or 3 threads. Because that was tough. But then all of a sudden, you got a nice rigid machine.
Yeah.
You put the pipe in, lock it, put the die on, let her go. Right. You stand there like this, right? Yeah. But before we did it by hand.
Yeah.
1/2 inch wasn't bad. You like 3/4 and 1 inch.
You're absolutely right.
You're jumping on that friggin' die with the big long handle there, right?
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as used to be trades, but they pay well these days too. Yeah. And I think, I don't know, you're right about parents. I think they think a trade is dirty or low or something, but believe me, guys are in HVAC and that. I don't see them get dirty, and they're making
ridiculous.
They're making big money.
My wife's son just came back from Alberta. He's apprentice plumber, okay, and he's only got 1 year, and he was just offered a job here in the Falls for $44 an hour.
Wow,
$44 an hour, and I'm going, can I get a job there? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's you know what? It doesn't happen like that all the time. But it can happen. And that's the beauty of all this. It can happen. Right? Who would have thought? I had no money getting into the machine shop business, but I took a risk and went for it and worked hard. Right? I still clean the washrooms. I'm still in there 6 days a week. But it's a labor of love. Just like, we all knew what our parents, they'd all tell us the same thing, right? You had to work hard, and it's not really changed.
No, even with technology, you still got to put in the time.
Yeah.
They say for anything, whether it's a musician or whatever, you got to put 10,000 hours in to become a professional.
Yeah.
It doesn't change with any other business.
No, you're 100% right. And there's the odd one that's gifted that can do it in 1,000.
The Gretzky.
Yeah, but the rest or 10,000.
That's right. It's a combination of hard work, a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
The ones that are gifted, it's still hard work and a little bit of luck, but it comes a little bit easier to you.
Yeah, some people it does, and the trades are no different. No, I've got some young people in there. They amaze me, and it's neat to watch.
You have a penchant for machines, and and a lot of it's too. A lot of it's common sense and being able to analyze things.
Yeah,
I think we lose a lot of analytical ability in the schools today.
Yeah,
from the old school, you look at something and you analyze it. Like, that doesn't look right to me. Let's take another look at it.
Yeah.
Whereas some people just today they just go put it through and it's not right, and they go, oh well, whatever.
That's another thing. You know how many apprentices we got from the high schools? They come on co-ops to us from all the region around here. We take them on, let them do their co-op, and then hire them after if they want a job.
Well, that's why I like Lord Elgin. If you remember Lord Elgin back in the day, right? That was like 2 years for trades, and there's some people who didn't like going to arts and science things. You take the 5-year course, you take biology and Latin and all these crazy other things. Well, these guys were more mechanical.
Yeah.
And Lord Elgin was the best thing that ever happened in Niagara Falls. It gave them the opportunity.
Yeah.
Instead of dropping out and hanging around Ray's Pool Hall, they went to Lord Elgin and they learned auto mechanics or carpentry or electronics or something.
For any non-believers, okay, just go on the Sunshine List and look up OPG, okay? Because I know people from there that as a machinist made $168,000 last year.
Wow.
As a machinist, right? So, I mean, the thing is, now, mind you, he's got a lot of skills now. He went through machinist and then a millwright and then this and that. But that's what it takes to get into a place like that. But look at who else can make money like that without university or whatever.
Yeah, it's out there for you.
Yeah, it's there for you. Yeah.
It's out there for you. It's a skill. It's a different skill than a doctor or a lawyer, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's still a skill.
Yeah.
You tell a doctor to go to a machine shop and do something.
Yeah.
He'd be lost. He would know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know what I'm doing when I go to the operating room, although I'd give it a shot, but I wouldn't know what I'm doing.
No, and you know what? Young people have to plan. Like, they have to plan their life. Say, okay, here's where I want to end up. How do I get there? Right? What's the path I got to take to be able to get to my goals? And they're out there. Like our shop, we're a smaller shop. We're not the highest paying shop in the world, but we offer experience, right? We offer a good work place to work. And then if you want, you move on. If you don't, then you've got a good work environment for as long as you want it.
Yeah, and the good thing about you is that you're so diversified that somebody can start here and then they can move here and they can do so many different things because you have a lot of different industries you deal with. So they can become specialists in a certain area, whereas they're not going to always be, the guy who makes $20 an hour.
Yeah.
They have a chance to move if they have the ability and they have the will.
Yes. Yep.
That's fantastic. Okay, Bob. On that note, we're going to wrap this up. But is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the Hamill Machine Shop?
No. Other, I just want to give a shout out to Ricardo. He helps the homeless here, and our shop on Bridge Street. Unfortunately, we've got probably 30 homeless live behind us.
Okay,
and believe me, we do what we can. I mean, I've picked up people and driven them from there when they needed. Because I thought they were going to die in the field. You have to do things. You got to have empathy for people. And I ran into this Ricardo, and he's got a house here on Chrysler that he took that was an absolute dive. There was garbage everywhere. And I just walked by there on my way here, and there's not even any garbage outside anymore. They took it. So people, whoever he's got in there, and they're homeless and, people with addiction problems, but somebody's doing something right there. Right? Because the place is all cleaned up. It's no longer an eyesore to the city. And believe me, it was an eyesore to the city for a long time. So Ricardo, he just amazing. I just amazed when I see him doing the things he's doing. And I really like when people do stuff because they like doing it, So, we all have to deal with the homeless. I don't care. We all have to deal with it. How to deal, I don't know how any more than anybody does. I just know that they're people and we got to care.
Yeah, and Ricardo's doing a good job.
He's doing a great job down there.
Yeah, I got to go see him and get him on the show. Maybe.
Yeah, 100%.
Let him tell us how he's doing it, because everybody's asking that same question. How do we fix this problem?
Yeah.
So good, Ricardo. Great shout out from. No, I see on your piece of paper. We see the sick kids here. Do you work with the sick kids?
Well, no. I've got my business partner, Kevin Dobbs. His wife's family owned Whiskey Run Golf Course in Port Colborne.
Okay.
And Kevin, they had their son when he was born had this. I cannot remember the name of the thing. Just other than Jimmy Kimmel's son had the same thing, where his heart. He was born. His heart actually had no. Picture a tree trunk needs a tree trunk and then all the limbs. He had no trunk. So he wasn't getting blood pumped to the heart. And he basically could have died when he was born type thing. But with technology now, they were able to keep him. He was in the hospital like 3 or 4 months and with sick kids and everything, like amazing, as you're aware. But anyways, they started a golf fundraiser every year at Whiskey Run. And we're the main sponsor for it. And they've raised over $120,000 over the last 5 years. So it's every summer in July. It's a great cause, good time, good prizes, all the good stuff, but just a great, great cause. And his son is fine now.
Oh, that's so good.
He's fine. And it used to be a death sentence, right?
We've come a long way with technology and not only regular stuff like computers and that, but in medicine too.
Yeah.
Good for him. God bless him. Good for him. Good for him, and great for you guys to run this golf tournament every year. If you guys golf and you want to get involved, just why look to Hamill machine, and they'll tell you how to sign up and
we will
and get your golf cart and your beer cart and everything else that goes along with golfing. I'm not a golfer.
Yeah.
Even though I do a show with my friend Paul Vickery. I don't know if you know Paul Vickery.
No, I don't think so.
But he's Mr. Golf, we call him. He lives in the villages of Florida, and we usually do the big golf events.
Yeah.
But there's an event right there. If you're looking to golf and have a good Saturday, I would imagine it's on.
Yeah, it is. Saturday. It is a Saturday. Yeah, it's a great time.
Look for it coming up, and it supports the Labatt Family Heart Center.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, I can read.
Yeah.
My eyes are bad, but they're not that bad.
That's why I didn't big print.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming in. It's been an interesting hour, I'll tell you that. I've known Hamill Machine Shop, like I say, from the old days with Tommy Hamill, the shop on Arthur Street, but I had no clue the vast amount of work and diversified work you guys did. It's amazing, to tell you the truth. This has been an eye opener for me. Yeah. I feel bad when I sit here and talk about Hamill Machine Shop. Just about the regular stuff. If you need gates and that, I mean, these guys. You need an airplane built, go see Hamill. They'll fabricate you something over there, a helicopter maybe, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Bob.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure for
me. And I
as
thank everybody for watching the show. Please support our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria, and of course, Hamill Machine Company. Now that you know a little bit more about the owner and you can put a face, if you see him around, say hello and thank him for his service. Come on, you guys, let's get with it here. Anyway, my name is Paul K. Lemire. This has been Your City, Your Voice, special edition. Meet the owner, Bob Benner from Hamill Machine Shop. Signing off. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday with Jody Burdett. He's supposed to be coming in, and we're going to get to the bottom of some of the City Hall business. Let me put it that way. If you're interested, you should tune in. It's going to be a good one. See you Monday. Have a great weekend. God bless you all. Ciao, ciao. For now, Bob, say goodbye to everybody.
All right. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.